Well, here we are for our next installment of Partner Insights. I again am Michelle Hodges, SVP of Global Channels Alliances here at Ivanti, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Sarah Oasen, CEO of EmpowerSolutions. Hi,
Hi,
Sarah.
Michelle. Great to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy you could join me. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your company, and then we'll dive in?
Absolutely, happy to. I'm Sarah Oasen. I'm the CEO of Empower Solutions. I've been in the federal IT sales industry for about 15 years now, sort of all over the space: management, install base management, sales, distribution, resale, and most recently a business owner. And I'm the owner of Empower Solutions. We're a small woman-owned business. We're based out of Reston, Virginia. Been in business 11 years now, and we focus on commercially available cybersecurity technology, and we are branching out from that original focus. So this is a very timely conversation for us.
Oh, that's great. That's exactly why I wanted to spend some time with you. You know, one of the reasons why we are attractive to our partner community is the opportunity for our partners to come almost organically grow their business, right? We are the result of acquisitions over many years, and that creates, as we build out this Neurons platform journey, lots of opportunity for you to take your previous investments and successes in one product and then cross sell into other areas. I know you've historically sold a lot of our Ivanti Pulse VPN solutions, and have invested and built a business plan that starts to then look into mobile device management and into our security tools. So I thought I'd ask you some questions about how you're going to do that.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. I said we'd had a lot of success, and we really, starting out as a small business, you have to focus, right? And cybersecurity is it continues to be very, very relevant, a core focus, but it's really, as we're talking to our customers, it's really kind of expanding out of traditional as we move into IoT, OT, all of these different interconnected devices. Cybersecurity is kind of touching everything having to do with technology.
Yeah.
So we're trying to grow with that trend. Our customers are looking to us to be able to make recommendations, be able to work with them as they evolve their thinking for AI, for quantum. So it's an exciting time to be alive, and exciting time to be in IT. Um, but so we're really looking at a number of different things, and as a reseller, we sort of have two audiences that we serve, and the first is our OEMs like Ivanti, and then also our customer base, and listening to what they need and how they're asking for help and where they're getting stuck with market research and with some of these definitional things. So in listening to those two things, we're talking to each one of our OEMs, and with Ivanti, we've been so fortunate because there have been so many acquisitions, and there are new capabilities being added all of the time, and there's a wide portfolio. So we can talk through and leverage existing relationships, which is really cross sell is in many ways I prefer to your net new capture, because you're working with existing relationships and you're able to have a better degree of candor around, all right, this is where we are, this is what we have, here's what's working, here's what's not. And then with the same group of people, let's move on to the next conversation instead of kicking it back off with an introduction and who are you and what it.
All the rest
So
of it.
it's an interesting evolution. I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. So in that install base, you have somewhat of a captive audience,
Mhm.
right? Do you think it helps you with customer retention to be able to drive customer success, and when you have different things to go talk to them about?
Absolutely, but it does take a little bit of a different skill set. It's a little bit more nuanced, as
Yeah.
I mentioned before. So with cross sell, the install based management piece can be a double edged sword. Because on the one hand, great, we all know each other, we have this relationship. On the other hand, they are, I think, more resistant to true marketing type of efforts, right? So some of the
Yeah.
things we would think of for a net new brand, net new logo capture. I think it was McKinsey said about only 15% of customers are actually receptive to cross sell initiatives from a marketing perspective. And I have a sort of a personal example of this. As salespeople, we sometimes have to take off that sales hat and put our consumer hat back on. And this might be a sort of off topic example, but I had a pick your own farm
Yeah.
that opened near me 3 years ago. Love that, love it. And we
Yeah.
we heard their marketing. We saw their ad in the paper. I saw their page on Facebook, and so we went to try it out. Had a great time. Talked to the owners. The next year, they still had marketing stuff going on that I was kind of ignoring. And then the owner
Oh,
texted
yeah.
me, "Hey, Sarah, really enjoyed having you and the kids. Wanted to let you know the strawberries will be ready in 2 weeks. Would love to see
Oh,
you."
wow.
And and it was like, I'll be there, Becky. So so having this personal recommendation is going to get you much further than marketing, and it really does require
Yeah.
true relationship building to do well, because you can't only be reaching out with sales all the time, right? Because
Yeah.
nobody likes salespeople, right? We don't mind if our friends sell us something every once in a while, but it can't be every single dial. But so as you're building this
Yeah.
relationship, as you're having this personal outreach, as you're building the context of the account, you're absolutely creating customer retention sort of organically. If you're doing cross sell
Yeah.
well, customer retention is not necessarily even something you have to focus on directly. It will happen with their comfort level, with their, oh, I know who this is
Yeah.
calling me and I meant to ask about her mom, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So as you go about this journey of looking at device management and cybersecurity, what are you learning about your customers? Is it helping you learn new things about them and new things about their portfolio gaps?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting because we've been federal focused. We're now branching out across public sector and into SLED markets as well. But within the
Yeah.
federal space, very often as we move from one capability to another, you're actually moving to different groups within the
Yeah.
federal space, and particularly at the
Different
enterprise
buyers.
level.
Yeah.
And that can be really fascinating. And I think, every market has its own eccentricities. Federal, we all like to think of ourselves as special, but we really start getting more of a context of our buying center. We're getting a broader view of our buying center and sort of the interrelationships, how people influence each other, because there's the clear cut job descriptions, and then there's the relationships and the team dynamics within a customer account. And that's been really
Yeah.
fascinating to learn about as we move from, oh, well, now, yes, we're the cybersecurity group, but you've got to talk specifically to the mobile group. All right, well, how do those
Yeah.
two groups interface? How do they read directives differently? How do they read their management differently? So yeah, learning a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we at Avanti talk about connecting IT to security, there's a perfect example of it, isn't
Yeah.
it? Let's talk about your sellers for a little bit. It's going to be a two-part
Okay.
question. How did your sellers take to cross-sell? First part. And then second part, what can we do or what have we done to help you in that transition?
Oh, good question. Okay. So, in terms of my sellers, we are a small, streamlined operation. We're 8 employees, which is a cool place to be. I love small business. I've worked at large businesses, and my heart is just there with small businesses.
Yeah.
So for us, I think one of the advantages we have as a small business is that there is a much more openness to collaboration, right? Because the reality is, as much as we all like to think of ourselves as these sharp salespeople, and we are, not everybody is compatible with everybody on the planet. And human beings have a really innate ability to sniff out inauthenticity. So,
Yeah.
as I was talking about, the relationships matter so much. Sometimes we can be like, yes, this is somebody with whom we need a strategic relationship, and then we can look across our team, right? Whose area of responsibility is it? Well, and then it's all of our area of responsibility. So we're
Yeah.
very, very open to working as a team. We're very open to bouncing ideas off of each other. My team is really great about seeking feedback and taking it to heart, about being coachable of,
Yeah.
hey, and even to me, sometimes I'll crack a joke in a presentation and it won't land, and I'll hear about it. I'll hear about it from my team later, which I appreciate.
I'm the queen of bad jokes,
You
so I
know,
love that.
it keeps you sharp. And then for us, there's sort of multiple. There's different flavors of cross sell, right? So there's cross sell
Yeah.
within a particular brand, but then as a reseller, we are also looking at ways that we can strategically support OEM relationships where there's strategic alignment. For example, Avanti and CrowdStrike, Avanti and Beyond
Yeah.
SSL and Zimperium. So we look at those
Yeah.
two things in different flavors and just looking at developing the competencies at a sales level on the technology, right? Because technology can be complicated. And so we try to develop that core competence so that we can speak about these things the way that your sales teams do, and to be an extension of that sales force driving demand. And then,
Yeah.
for Avanti has done very, very well at communicating on acquisitions and new capabilities, and have really been very, very interactive with us on particularly the strategic OEM alignments. That's hugely helpful to your resale community, because if we can find
Yeah.
alignment as OEMs are talking to each other, talk about the channel. Where do we have strong players? Who's serving us well? And do we we have any
Yeah.
synergies of, man, I love those opportunities. If you mean I could please two reps with one phone call, fantastic. We can do a lot better
Done.
together. So I think
Yeah.
Avanti does very, very well at those strategic initiatives, and then also having the capabilities across the portfolio. The reps have been very collaborative with us, the sales reps actually on the federal team, of like, what is the pathing? Because that's another, I think, very critical piece of cross sell, is being able to path, and especially when you have
Yeah.
as many products and capabilities as Avanti does. It's not, okay, we've sold you one thing. Which of the 27 others would you like to look at next? No, okay,
Yeah.
let's narrow it down. Let's look at analytics. Let's marry
Yeah.
relationships and rapport with data and see what makes sense. And so I've sat down with many of the reps and brainstorm, like, okay, this customer owns this and this. It makes more sense for them to get this, but is this their? So the collaboration has been fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, the mantra in my team for this fiscal is, empower the vision, make
Oh, I love
sure
it.
that the customers and the partners
Empower the vision.
understand, the neurons vision, but you got to enable the motion, right? What's that path to get from where the current, customer state is today to a secure mobile device environment or whatnot. So,
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the sort of the install
um,
based management rests on those two pillars. It's data and
yeah,
relationships. Who's got the data? Who's got the
absolutely.
relationship? Let's marry those things, and then we can come up with a tactical plan that makes sense.
Yeah. So, along this evolution, right, we go from, 77 products and then 5 pillars, and now we're really moving into solution and bundling packages to make sure that you've got a small, medium, large offering that focuses on business customer problems. How has that helped you to be able to enable that motion? And do you think it's a good thing for vendors to be out there doing around this kind of helping you solution and bundle things?
Absolutely. Well, as much flexibility as you can provide to customers allows us to be authentically customer oriented, right? Of we can have
Yeah.
several different things to offer. It is actually a really timely question, because those bundles were announced at the Partner Solutions Summit, which is the last time we were
Yes.
together back in April. And for federal, the sales cycle is long. That's one of the eccentricities. So coming out of that meeting, I was very excited about that, of being able to bundle some of those point capabilities into something bundled and relevant that had different tiers. And so we've been doing account planning, looking at who would be receptive to that, who has elements of that now where it might make sense to just add the full bundle. Let's see if we can make that
Yeah.
palatable. And we are actually underway in our first demand gen campaign for the new chasm solution. So that
Oh,
is
fantastic.
underway. We're excited about it, and it's our first go at those bundles. So I'm very excited to be able to report some results to you. But
Oh, I can't wait to hear back. Anything to make it easier, right? And to help speed up that sales cycle for you.
absolutely, absolutely, and I
So,
think it's been helpful, because one of the things we noticed, because Avanti is our largest OEM, and particularly broadest in terms of what you have in your portfolio. We have
mm,
found when we were doing demand gen, we would set a meeting based on one particular capability, right? And then we would get there, we would talk through that placemat slide, and we would find ourselves all over the place. So I think
yeah.
that having those bundled solutions are really going to help us focus and get more out of that initial meeting, because we're sort of leading with with a fuller scope of the capability rather than just one point. That makes
Oh, I love how you just wrap that up because you started with this premise of, hey, we were super successful with Pulse VPN because we
Mhm.
focused. And now we really want to expand our offering to connect IT and security and these solution packages and really focusing on the data allows you to focus what you do best. All right. You and I could sit around and chit chat for a
But
long
we got
time. I
stories.
always enjoy spending time with you, but in the effort to make this kind of short and sweet, do you have any couple parting words for the audience? Anything that you'd like the folks to walk away from this conversation with?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I am the absolute worst at summarization. But let's see, if there's some key takeaways. I would say the key takeaway is that cross sell is career development. From what we've talked about, this
Yeah.
is your relationships that are going to move your business. This is your opportunities to build a rapport. This is your opportunity. I mean, you think of the calls you have to make during the day as a salesperson, and having those warm people that are going to pick up the phone and say hi and know something, and
Yeah.
something about them. It is career development, so it is relationship based. It is also data based. The more that you invest in cross sell, the better of a salesperson you're going to be, and the better of an understanding you're going to have of your customer.
And the better solution provider you're going to be for your customers, I
Absolutely.
think. So, yeah, fantastic. Well, Sarah, thanks again for your time. Thank you so much for your partnership. We so value what you do for us and how we work together in front of our federal and public sector customers. So
It has
thank you.
been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Michelle. We enjoy our partnership with Ivanti. We enjoy your team and always enjoy catching up with you.
Great. Thanks so much.